All right, guys, we are back with another reaction video. I'm here with my buddy Greg. He is a bass player in our band Dirtgrass Canyon. If you want to hear him play, there's some stuff on on the YouTube channel of us playing live. Bass player here in town. What the heck is this song?
Well, this next song is also a Marshall Tucker Band song called Ramblin' on My Mind. And the interesting thing to me about this song, it's a live version of it, and it really cooks, you know, so it actually takes a notch up, and it's, you know, being alive, I mean, it still has that rawness, but, I mean, it still really takes that whole level of what these guys did in Southern rock. I think it's a great example.
Yeah. So let's check out this tune. This for those of you guys that don't know Marshall Tucker Band, this is a kind of 70s. You know, they're around the 70s and very, very Southern rock kind of style you hear, and a really, really cool band that's a little bit overlooked with all the other ridiculously awesome bands from the 70s. There's about 1 million of them, but let's check this tune out.
From Spartanburg, South Carolina, Capricorn recording artist, the Marshall Tucker Band. Thank you. Yeah. We're going to do a song, keep the place shaking, with a song called Ramblin' on My Mind.
Got that underlying guitar part. I mean, he's just flying. I mean, that's funky guitar strumming, but the rest of it is not funky. I mean, the rest of it has got the Southern thing going, and like we were talking about in the last video, there's like gospel kind of.
There's gospel in here. Yeah, these guys are jumping that old. I mean, you can go back to Jay McShann, Kansas City Blues jump stuff in the middle of this electrified on. So, yeah, I mean this whole stuff took a different path for me than the country rock because of all of these different elements. You know, I mean, I like the country rock sound, and we do a lot of that, and you know, I mean, and it's good, but this is just different, and it has a lot more depth to it, and a lot more, you know, like we said earlier, some different layers of, you know, I mean, you can hear a lot of R&B influence in this, you know, so. I mean, that's what I always found interesting, was it encompassed all that, brought it together into its own genre.
Yeah, and they basically, like you said, these guys and Allman Brothers and a couple other bands kind of eventually sort of melded their way in, and now this is like a thing. Yeah. You know, now this is like a section in the music store or something, you know?
One of the things I think's worth noting, this guy doesn't use a pick.
Really?
No.
Wow.
He's doing all of his guitar work with his thumb.
Oh, wow.
And that's what he was known for. And that's part of why he gets such a different and unique tone.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, when you hear what he's doing right in here, I mean, that's a fast-moving thumb.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, is he...
He's
just doing that. I mean, he's not like doing a strummy thing with it, or is he like?
Yeah, I don't think he uses a thumb pick. I think
right.
he's just doing it like a bass player, like
sure.
I play bass.
Yeah,
with my fingers, but he's just using his thumb.
Sure, yeah.
And when I learned to play guitar, I mean, I modeled. I was never coordinated enough to use a pick either.
Mm-hmm.
So
screw picks, man.
Yeah, I don't need no stinking picks.
We don't need picks.
Yeah, and so when I play guitar, I do the same thing that this guy does. Just use my thumb. But I mean, that's not too many people do that.
No, yeah. A lot of the guys do the finger style, but not with thumb. Yeah. Too much. Yeah, picks are for bums.
No.
Bunch of bum. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So here's a bass question for you. So on something like this, you could obviously have like a boom, boom, ding, dong, ding, dong, boom, boom.
Sure, absolutely.
Or you could do what he's sort of doing with the gospel, being dum 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 nobody no do 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 do. I mean, you can like fly through there with 1,000 notes, or just do like a boom chuck kind of thing.
And that's where I started to hone my style, if you will, was listening to this guy, listening to Barry Oakley of the Allman Brothers Band, and how melodic, their parts were. Because this guy's playing a part. He is just not a rhythm deal. He's a total instrument playing a melody that's fitting into the rhythm section. And that's one of the most interesting things that I found with all of these groups is that bass riff being melodic instead of just 1 and 5 and keeping time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about that in our band a little bit of the what do, and this is a band thing for anybody being in a band is you kind of have to have a little of these discussions once in a while, because sometimes you have people in the band that drummers and bass players especially is that are we going to do this straight country style, or are we going to do it and have this other kind of melody thing, or for example, are we going to play this country song but I'm going to put like sort of a Latin-y beat on it that is sort of like the calypso style, as a drummer. So these questions you have with what are we going to do to spice this up, and or you could Or the other thing I guess you could do with this is you could do kind of a hybrid between those two, where you're half the time you're sort of doing the bum 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 bum, and then the other one do 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 do.
Well, and we do some of that on a couple of the tunes that we play, and that has created some discussion, if you recall. I forget which songs they were.
Right, yeah, and
that's like Waltz Across Texas. I'll play it pretty straight during the verse, but then when we go to a solo, I mean, I'm walking the thing,
right,
and going in and out and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of freaks the drummer out sometimes, and so I'm going, well, deal with it, man.
And so that's kind of that's just maybe a piece of advice to anybody in a band is, you need to have those discussions about that, and sometimes you get the right people and you never need to have that discussion because everybody just knows that Greg's gonna do this and Rob's gonna do weird stuff over the song, and I'm totally fine with it because we want oddball country thing or with these many genres melding together like we were talking about.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, since we don't have a guitar player per se, an electric guitar player that's played in lead riffs and stuff like that. You and me are trading lead riffs a lot of times
because he's just strumming.
Yeah. Scott's just keeping the rhythm. And you're doing all the lead fills and stuff like that. But every now and then, when I'm laying some different riffs in there too, I mean, it actually becomes a second lead or guitar part in a way.
Yep.
That makes us really full, makes our sound, dimensional without having to have a lead player. And so, part of the trick is, and I played with a lot of good guitar players over the years too, and so I'm always cognizant, even when you're playing, I can be doing all kinds of stuff, and I don't want to step on what you're doing when you're doing some melodic stuff. And so there has to be a synergy that's going on, and we have to be in tune, pardon the pun,
right?
So that it's a complement and not a distraction, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
When my lady come home me, oh, when my lady come home me, need some money.
Now they're going the back and forth, right? He does a little bit of vocals, throws in a little riff, vocals, riff, vocals, riff.
Yeah, they're answering back.
I just tell her them words.
This is very gospel.
It is.
I got Ramblin on my mind. I got Ramblin on my mind.
The raw emotion that these guys were able to communicate and portray in their music. And I mean, if you're gonna really, countryfy it up, you don't get that gut-wrenching kinds of emotion necessarily.
Oh yeah. What was that? He went up there on a really good, high, strong, note, and then he just he went seagull on us.
the ham.
Yeah, he is a ham.
Yeah, he kind of is. Well, let's do a couple of more of the old school, and then we can play it forward and kind of see how it.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's transitioned to where we're at today on some cool stuff.
So, what was the full name of that song again?
Ramblin' on my mind.
Ramblin' on my mind. So that's a little more Marshall Tucker for you. We're gonna do a couple more of these, and but anyway, get out of here.